Welcome to more Gran Turismo Sports Specialtating. Today we have some of us as around Brands Hatch, Indiana Dirty Race. I would hope for Jiminy Cricket's sake this would never be ran as a clean race, but given that there was a clean race with these around Northern Isle, who knows, maybe it will be in the future, but for now this one's dirty and I've already flipped it. This is going great, isn't it? Great as in entertainingly great. Not exactly the greatest for me, but well, even though these are set to stock settings just because, honestly, that sort of kind of makes them roll, but in a controllable way. They still do roll, but just more controllable. Pretty much the only way you're going to roll when it's in the stock settings is pretty much if you're pushing to the absolute max or you get turned at the right area. But, well, if you want to win, you kind of sort of have to push to absolute max. So, well, there you have it, folks. Like, that was a borderline roll, and I think that sort of kind of was a roll there. I think that generic paint job one might have been on three wheels for minutes there. And that crunch bar one took advantage with the one with the flames, not really needing to take advantage because, well, hasn't really messed up yet. Knock on fake wood, really, I don't think is needed for these, because eventually it will mess up. That's just kind of the name of the game. There we go. I wouldn't even really call that a jinx. I would just call that these are pretty cotton picking hard to drive, even in stock settings. Which in theory means that I have the advantage, just given that, well, I've driven jelly cars a whole heck of a heap. And, well, this is that. Not as crazy of a setting, but really, this is all relatively close race. Yeah, close race. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be involved in it at some point. Yeah. Whatever, good race for first, though, so. Yeah, people seem to be figuring these out decently good, which makes for some good all-around racing, even in stuff this crazy. This is as slow of a fully tuned vehicle as you get. Its max horsepower is 98, but, well, it's still pretty cotton-picking chaotic nonetheless. Yeah. Just say in terms of that one's been stuck for that long, and yet it's still been a steady stream of vehicles going throughout. Pretty much everybody stayed pretty cotton-picking close. And now it's the crunch bar one with a lead, but not really that big of a lead. It's probably only about 4 seconds or so. And boost is on strong, draft is on strong. But, well, I'm not as strong as I was hoping I would be driving these, because I think I've flipped it at least like 3 times now. That one I was able to save, but still, nonetheless, that lost me speed. That's another thing, too, in these, is there's a max. There's no going over that max. So you can't exactly push to the point of try something and see if it works, because that sort of kind of will work in a general dirty race, because maybe you can go in a bit too hard or something and just like scare the driver in front of you into messing up, or maybe you can just tap them a little bit and get them loose enough where even though you're not taking the best line, that's going to make them slightly worse. But in these, if you just slightly go over the max, you're completely done for. Huh. As I say that, well, there you go. And actually, I have a decent lead now, surprisingly. This was supposed to be a Samba bus race. Mediocre is always the answer to not really be in any race, because, well, they really are mediocre. Seriously, does anyone care about a Miata anymore? I don't even think they're even called Miatas anymore. Haven't people, like, moved on from then? Now people's even sort of kind of gotten bored of like the FRS and stuff, which is sort of a superior version of it. Slightly more powerful, slightly more fun to drive, Japanese relatively cheap, quote-unquote, sports car. And yet people are still been sort of kind of tired of them now. And, well, that sort of signified that, too, because the Miata almost started doing good and then got the holy snikes knocked out of it, a.k.a. Miata sales of recent times. So it kind of look like they're doing good, and then something just knocks the holy snikes out of it. I don't even know why they're still made anymore, honestly, because Fiat kind of has a version of it. Alfa Romeo kind of has a version of it. So really, it's all of the FCA kind of have their own little version of it, and they kind of just all take away from each other's sales. But anyway, this is supposed to be about the buses, but actually the race is starting to sort of kind of, no, it's not actually spreading out that much. It's spreading out a little bit for the lead, but, well, that's quite literally bumper to bumper, and these have no front well, areas. So bumper to bumper literally means as close as you can possibly get completely for the whole front part of the car. And somebody else already wrecked there off camera. Even when there isn't metals up front, there's still pretty cotton pick a good chance of somebody messing up just because, well, these flip. When you're in front, especially in a dirty race, you want to try to push as hard as you can because you're going to be the target. Everybody's going to be trying to get to you at some point anyway. And with boost on, you're automatically going to be slower anyway, so you kind of have to push just to not be a sitting duck. So even though it's sort of kind of spread out once again, that doesn't necessarily mean anything yet. There's still some racing left to go too. Or, well, maybe the leader's gone, but well, the leader's me, so I guess all in all I sort of kind of did figure out these decently well. But as for everyone else, well, there's only 2 laps left, and everybody's still wrecking. Or at least everybody who's on camera right now, even the mediocres, still wrecking. Yeah, these take more than 7 laps to figure out. Honestly, even for the very first Jelly Car Challenge, to even get all that going and working and stuff, which was purely just a time trial, which means you only needed 1 lap, that in and of itself took about an hour for the first car, and probably still about 20 minutes for each of the others. The first car that I did, I think, was the DS3, because that was just sort of the baseline or whatever, because I knew it had a different horsepower than the rest, so I wanted to see how to make the rest to make it more equal. Which kind of sort of worked, but not really, but whatever, moving on. These are about these, and well, these are still crazy, even without necessarily being tuned to a jelly car, and this is about to get a whole heck of a heap crazier, I just have that feeling. Is there going to be a flip here? Probably so. Jimmy Cricket hit the wrong button, but whatever, I didn't actually miss anything, because ultimately it's still wrecked anyway, and ha ha ha, the mediocre wrecked on its own. If that was driven by somebody who could actually drive, then that would win the race, probably, because balance of power ain't very good in this game, really. When it comes to stuff beyond maybe the 3rd best through 7th best or so, any particular class. Generally, you have 1 or 2 that are run away, and then you have kind of the back ones can't keep up. The mid-section's fine, but, well, this is the worst, and this is really about the best. It's probably about the 3rd best of the N100s. I think the 2000 GT does kind of run away now. But, well, whatever. Speaking of running away, my jelly car experience looked like it paid off, because I am indeed and ain't gonna get the win. So, I do get the win driving some jelly buses, even though they're stock. They're still pretty cotton picking jellies. Even I demonstrated, and I won. So, that definitely did help. As for everyone else, though, well, some of them sort of kind of need help. But actually, that is a mid-pack driver there. So, yeah. Chaos, to say the least. That's for sure. And I think all the racing's pretty much over at this point. Yeah, somebody in the back there trying to flip, somebody not even really caring. Well, that was interesting. At least there's that, I guess. At least there's that. And there will be more crazy jelliness to come. Because, well, even when it's not necessarily been tuned to be a jelly car, they're still pretty cotton picking awesome to drive, as y'all can see there. And that and all the other jelliness is definitely worth yeehaw.